Today is November 18th, 2018, and we're at the grave site of my grandfather, Alfred Edgar Burton, and his parents in Portland, Maine at Evergreen Cemetery off of Myrtle Avenue. That's M-Y-R-T-L-E, I think. Anyway, so I'm going to do a close-up. We came up here 2 years ago and worked on the tombstone head because it looked like all the other ones with so much mold and lichen on it, you couldn't tell what the tombstone read. So we put a lot of work into that. It was tipping forward. We straightened it up. I asked the cemetery to put more dirt behind it, which they did, and it stands proudly now. And next to Alfred Edgar Burton's tombstone, headstone, is his sister Mary, who was born on 1852 and died on November 2nd, 1939. Alfred Edgar Burton was born in 1857 and died in 1935 at Virginia Lee Burton, his daughter's house in Gloucester. Martha Burton was his mother, and Alfred Merrill Burton was his father. The dates of those deaths we'll have to look up. And then there was a little girl who was born and died very early. And then behind that are his. Oh, actually, these are the footstones of the cemetery site for the Burtons. So I have a map of this, and we can tell what these stones are in the back. But this is a large plot. This plot goes all the way from up here in the front where Christine's standing, all the way to the back, which is a good 25 feet, all the way to here. And then, as you can see, there is a big tree that overhangs and shades the plot. But there's lots of room for Burton family, should anybody want to have their. I would like to have my ashes and cremation urn go on this site next to my grandfather's. I'm so happy about the resetting of the gravestone head back 2 years ago. It is a very lovely gravestone, and it was in horrible shape, but it is, it's in good shape now, for sure. And as it says, Alfred Edgar Burton, 1857 to 1935, the first dean, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I pray for thee, then write me as one that love his fellow men. Beautiful sight. And we're going to go to the site where his parents and grandparents were buried. And that's north of here, northwest of here, in Gorham, Maine. Today's November 18th, 2018. We're at Hillside Cemetery in Gorham, Maine. And in the middle of the cemetery, roughly, if you look at where the entrance building is, this section is about 75 yards up and down a little road that goes down into the cemetery. And on the right, we have the gravestones of William Burton, who died in 1841. He was a native of Gloucester County, Virginia. His wife, Mary, died in, I believe, in 1872. Then there is William Burton, Jr., who died in 1882. So his father died in 1841, and he died, William Jr., in 1882. He was married. The wife of William Burton Jr. was Mary, M-A-R-Y, Berry, and she died in 1876. And then Edwin Burton was born in 1826 and died in 1855. So he was fairly young. I'm interested in the "Thou art not in the tomb." Death cannot claim the immortal mind. Let earth close o'er its saved breast, yet goodness dies not in the dust. I believe that says. So these are Burton lines of burial of the ancestors of my lineage on the Burton side all the way back to the 1700s date. I'm not sure who Emma was, and I'm not sure it's part of the same grave site. I don't believe it is. I think it's maybe from some other family. Emma F. Bailey is not. So this is not part of the family. But these are Burton's grave sites all the way to here, I believe, on the back side. Okay, today's November 18th, same day as the other video we shot down south of here. We are looking now inside the cemetery behind Bowdoin College, where Arnold Burton and others are buried. Arnold was Alfred Edgar's son, and this is Bath Road, where you come into the cemetery. And dead ahead is the burial site of Alfred Burton and others. I'm sorry, not Alfred Burton, Arnold Burton and others. And I'm going to walk over to the site and film. So here, I've forgotten. Do you remember who that was for?
That was Eaton.
That's the Eaton family?
Yes.
And so here is Felix Arnold Burton's stone, who was the architect, Alfred Edgar's son, architect who designed a lot of the Bowdoin campus and lived in Wabron section of Newton, married to Helen Eaton Burton, and Arnold designed houses and buildings in Boston in that area, had a office on Boylston Street if I remember right, and he was married to Helen Eaton Burton, and they had one child, Alice Burton, who's buried here. Alice was married to a guy named John Lentz, who had they had a son, one child named Bobby Lentz, who was a smart kid but ended up in trouble. And so I believe that this larger table-looking thing is the Eaton family, who Helen had as parents, and this is the site then of Arnold. Harold Burton, I believe, is buried in either the National Cemetery in Washington because he was a Supreme Court justice, or he would be buried back in Ohio, which I will find out at some point. But this is the Burtons, who are related to the Eatons, and the Eatons owned a big paper mill up here in Brunswick. And Arnold went to Bowdoin, like his father and his brother Harold, and married Helen Eaton while he was up here in Brunswick.